bus at rush hour, but no one seized her attacker or tried to drag him away. Those who were standing took a step or two back. Every observer was edging backward as far as the walls allowed, leaving Penny and her rapist in a growing emptiness at the front of the room. The two paramedics pushed through the crowd. When they first reached her, Penny lashed out, still gasping and struggling, but they calmed her, telling her to relax, telling her that she was safe, the worst was over, leaving her chilled, drenched in sweat, and shivering with shock. In every direction, a wall of faces looked for blank spots where their eyes wouldn't meet other eyes filled with their mutual shame. The paramedics lifted her onto a gurney, and one tucked a blanket around her trembling body while the other buckled straps to keep her in place. Finally, the judge was gaveling, calling for a recess. The medic, pulling the straps snug, asked, "Can you tell me what year this is?" Penny's throat burned, raw from shouting. Her voice sounded hoarse, but she said the correct year. "Can you tell me the president?" asked the paramedic. Penny almost said Clarissa Hind, but stopped herself. President Hind was dead. The first and only female president was dead. "Can you tell us your name?" Both medics were, of course, male. "Penny," she said. "Penny Harrigan." The two men leaning over her gasped in recognition. Their professional faces slipped for a moment and became delighted smiles. "I thought you looked familiar," one said brightly. The other snapped his fingers, exasperated by words that wouldn't come to mind. He piped in, You're that one, from the National Enquirer." The first one pointed a finger at Penny, bound and helpless, watched by every masculine eye. "Penny Harrigan," he shouted like an accusation. "You're Penny Harrigan, the nerd Cinderella." The pair of men lifted the gurney to waist height. The crowds parted to let them wheel it toward the exit. The second medic nodded with recognition. "The guy you dumped, wasn't he like the richest man in the world?" "Maxwell," the first declared. "His name was Linus Maxwell." He shook his head in disbelief. Not only had Penny been raped in front of a federal courtroom filled with people, none of whom had lifted a finger to stop the attacker, but now the ambulance attendants thought she was an idiot. "You should have married him," the first one kept marveling all the way to the ambulance. "Lady, if you'd married that guy, you'd be richer than God." Cornelius Linus Maxwell, C. Linus Maxwell. Due to his reputation as a playboy, the tabloid press often called him Climaxwell, the world's richest mega-billionaire. Those same tabloids had dubbed her the nerd Cinderella. Penny Harrigan and Corny Maxwell. They'd met a year before. That all seemed like a lifetime ago. A different world entirely. A better world. Never in human history had there been a better time to be a woman. Penny knew that. Growing up, she repeated the fact like a mantra. Never in human history has there been a better time to be a woman. Her world had been perfect, more or less. She'd recently graduated law school in the top third of her class, but failed the bar exam twice. Twice! It wasn't self-doubt, not really, but an idea had begun to haunt her. It bothered Penny that, due to all the hard-won victories of women's liberation, becoming an upbeat, ambitious girl attorney didn't feel like much of a triumph. Not anymore. It didn't seem any bolder than to be a housewife in the 1950s. A couple generations ago, society would have encouraged her to be a stay-at-home mom. Now all the pressure was to become a lawyer, or a doctor, or a rocket scientist. Whatever the case, the validity of those roles had more to do with fashion and politics than they did with Penny herself. As a college undergrad, she'd devoted herself to gaining the approval of the professors in her gender studies department at the University of Nebraska. She'd exchanged the dreams of her parents for the dogma of her instructors, but neither of those outlooks was innately her own. The truth was, Penelope Ann Harrigan was still being a good daughter, obedient, bright, dutiful, who did as she was told. She'd always deferred to the advice.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.